What's going on, y'all? KMBest here. Warlock just dropped in Marvel Snap, and I'm pretty sure I've got the best deck for everyone's favorite new robot boy. Warlock is a 3/3 with an activate that for each unspent energy gives a card in your hand -1 cost. There is a bunch of stuff that you could do with this card. There are a couple of things that almost every deck playing this card will be doing, though, so we should talk about those as well because they constitute what you might describe as the Warlock package. If you are skipping energy, Sunspot is a great option. It doubles up on the efficiency of Warlock, converting in Sunspot's case your energy into power, and in Warlock's case your energy into more energy. These two are definitely besties. She-Hulk is doing much the same thing. It's converting energy into power, effectively, getting a discount on this card. What you don't like about this package, though, is that both Warlock and these cards are meaningfully interacting with energy, and while it can be fine to skip turn 5 for a Sunspot and have your energy wiped out by a Mobius, it is likely not fine if you are counting on your Warlock, counting on your She-Hulk to pay you back for it, which of course brings us to the villain of this video. This guy is your public enemy number 1. I think if this card didn't exist, Warlock decks like the one that I'm playing, and even more highly invested Warlock decks, would actually be a meaningful metagame force. But unfortunately, the existence of this card does make it quite difficult to actually devote yourself to being a Warlock deck. And that's largely the struggle. It's why I think my version of the Warlock deck is better, because it's not all-inning on the discount. When you all-in on the discount with stuff like, for example, activate a Black Swan before you activate your Warlock to make sure that your discounts don't go on your 1-cost cards. That kind of stuff is really cool and does functionally work, but it makes you even more invested in stuff that loses to Mobius. And fundamentally, the way this card wants to be played is in concert with She-Hulk and Sunspot. And if you skip turn 5 and don't get the payoff for that, your She-Hulk costs 6, you are almost certainly losing the game on the spot. Mobius is the bad guy here, but what I have done is try to construct a deck that meaningfully uses Warlock in your non-Mobius matchups, and then when you are getting Mobius, you are not instantly dead. You just need to recognize the possibility for that. And I actually did pretty well with the various iterations of this deck. We're on the 3rd iteration of it. I tried a couple of previous versions. They also did okay, but I do think this is the best one. And that is this list. The driving question for me was, can I get the Warlock package to the level of, say, the Invisible Woman First Steps package in terms of being the kind of thing you can fuse into other decks? That's the ethos of what this deck is trying to be. In much the same way as we talked about in my last video, where you have what is effectively the Invisible Woman First Steps deck with all the end of turns taken out and a Kitty Pryde package put in, that is what this deck is doing as well. We are a Juggernaut deck, we are a Mobius deck, we are a Mercury deck, and then the stats are coming from this. And I actually was fairly encouraged by how well this deck was able to do in certain situations. The point output you're getting here is genuinely meaningful. There were really powerful, I felt really strong whenever this worked, basically. If I wasn't getting Mobius, then I was playing a mid-range deck. I felt amazing about everything I was doing, because not only am I discounting a whole bunch of crap, I am getting a free She-Hulk, I am getting points on Sunspot, I am getting more points on Sunspot because I discounted my whole hand to the point that I'm getting them on turn 6 as well. Like, this does feel like there's a lot of actual points in here, and in terms of points, it is competitive with the other shells that are doing this, but unfortunately, and this is notable, you do run into Mobius enough out of those shells that it doesn't feel like it might be able to supplant them. I think a lot of other people are doing what you would call like all-in Warlock with Moon Girl and things of that nature. And I just think that it is too common to get Mobius to play a deck like that without a coherent backup plan. And that's what this deck is trying to do. Our coherent backup plan is Gwenpool, Mysterio, Hitmonkey, Elektra. That's what our coherent backup plan is. If we think we're getting Mobius, that's fine. We will pivot. We will make plays on turn 5. We will do whatever we have to do. And don't be afraid to do that, because it is very bad to get Mobius, and this card did just come out, which means a lot of people are playing the card even more than they would normally be doing. But largely, the reason I think this is the best version of any Warlock deck right now is not because it does the most points or anything like that. It's because it is able to adapt to the metagame with its own tech cards and not be dead to the extremely common tech cards your opponents are playing for this deck. That is my deck building ethos. It kind of always has been. So with that said, let's jump into the card by card breakdown. Sunspot is a very reasonably powerful card that gets really ridiculous when you're doing She-Hulk and Warlock stuff. Effectively, what you're doing is compounding the power of the package. And I do feel like a 3-card package, maybe that's not the most consistent thing in the entire world, but really just Sunspot Warlock is kind of enough to make it work. You aren't necessarily going to love it in other situations. I think a lot of the time this deck is not skipping except on Warlock and She-Hulk turns, but the payoff is notable, and you're able to pair really cheap guys with Juggernaut and things of that nature on the final turn of the game. Like, I'm not saying this is at the exact level of the thing first step stuff, but being able to go, say, Hydra Bob or Elektra, 1 cost She-Hulk, Juggernaut a different lane, that is a very powerful thing to do. Elektra is just sort of a metagame choice. It feels like this deck is a 1-drop away. It wants to be a 1-drop that you can hold in your hand, so it can't really be Black Cat. So it ends up just kind of being Elektra. I struggled with the early curve for this deck because there aren't many good 2s and 1s you can play in a deck like this. You don't really want to be playing Kate Bishop because you don't really want to be giving discounts to the arrows a lot of the time. You don't want to be playing Merlin for much the same reason. You're actually trying to do a bunch of stuff. Those are cards that are best when you're actually playing your cards. And a lot of the time, your ideal world is skipping turn 5 and you have all these cards in your hand and it's like, well, when am I going to actually do something with these? So that's where Elektra came in. Just a solid enough 1 or 2 cost card. I think she's very much a flex slot right now. Definitely card 12 in the list. But she's pretty solid, or at least solid enough. Whereas Safety Blade gave me the idea for Elektra, Hydra Bob was in the deck from the start. He is a 1/4. That's really all I need to say. Surge felt a little iffy here, but was pretty okay in the worlds where if you run enough 1-drops, Surge is usually just going to do something cool. A 0/5 Hydra Bob, that kind of stuff. Like, it's just going to be cool enough getting to be able to weave those in that you're probably going to be fine. There are plenty of cards in this deck, though, that you aren't necessarily excited about seeing a Surge proc on, and it does come up a decent amount. But all of that is to say, she's good enough that you're happy about it. Like, you like getting her on an early Gwenpool, you like getting it on a Mysterio just for the extra buff on the Mysterio. All of that stuff is relevant and does happen, and so Surge is generally carrying her weight, but I don't think she's like a sort of locked-in, you can't play without this card. She's just pretty solid. North American High Infinite Ladder is full of people playing like Tribunal Move and Normal Move and Move Bounce, and you don't beat that in any way. This is actually like largely the things that inform me thinking this is the best version of the Warlock deck, because every other version of the Warlock deck is just like all-inning a combo that still loses to move. And at least we, by virtue of not all-inning the combo, can play tech cards that actually beat that matchup. And that's a big part of why I think this deck makes sense right now. We are a Mysterio deck actually before we are a Hitmonkey deck. This card is excellent at carrying Gwenpool buffs, great at making your Hitmonkey large, generally just a pretty decent card to be playing in the first place, and gives you in Juggernaut matchups a way to fill up lanes so you don't get as owned by those solo lane YOLO juggers as you typically can be. Hitmonkey is the other part of the points package here, where a lot of the time you're sitting there looking at, do I all in my points? Do I play my Juggernaut? One of the things you run into when you're playing Juggernaut thing first steps, for example, is I have to choose between these cards if it's turn 6. And one of the things about Hitmonkey being cheap, about Warlock existing, about She-Hulk discounting herself, is you are actually going to have games where it's like, Mysterio's free, Hitmonkey costs 1, Juggernaut costs 2, She-Hulk costs 1, that's my final turn, and it's super busted. Like, that is really, 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 really strong. You can do a ton of crazy stuff in this deck, and that's sort of the competitive advantage here, where it's like, for these decks that are doing like various Juggernaut things, if they're not disrupting your Warlock, you are just going to outpoint them and outmaneuver them and out-Juggernaut them and all of that stuff. And that's really what Hitmonkey is doing here. Warlock was good enough that I actually did buy the variant for him, which is not necessarily a guarantee. You'll note I also did that for Dormammu, but it does mean that I am at least confident enough to say, like, I think this is kind of okay, or at least kind of playable, or a functional kind of thing to do. I don't know if I think it's going to last forever, but I do think that this has, like, I have done exciting and cool things with this in a shell that has proven itself before in the context of being like this Mobius Mercury deck right now. Unfortunately, there are some reverts coming, potentially. And I do think that Warlock gets a lot worse if Killmonger comes back in force. My big worry for this card is Killmonger comes back in force, and you just can't even reasonably invest in this stuff anymore because your Sunspot dies, your other 1-drops die, everything gets really, really sad really fast. And I think that's entirely possible, especially because I think Killmonger coming back alongside Negasonic, alongside Shang-Chi, could really incentivize people playing like a Danger-style deck where it's just blow up all your stuff. If people are doing Danger, Warlock is unplayable. If people are doing Killmonger, Sunspot is unplayable. And that's largely the worry I have for this, where like I think this is a good deck right now, but there's a patch tomorrow, and I would be very cautious because I think there are some real potential worries for a deck like this moving forward. Right now, though, this guy is really the only potential worry. Owen Wilson wow.png is showing up here. I guess it would be like .gif, probably. Everyone's gonna get mad at me for saying GIF. I should have edited that out. So Mobius is pretty damn good. The other thing that this deck has over the other all-in versions of Warlock is, and this is the same dynamic as with Mercury, where it's like, okay, you made an all-in Warlock deck, you still have less point output than all the stuff that Mobius beats. So you have to be a Mobius deck. Like, it's just, it is unfortunately forced on you. Like, that is the thing I'm trying to get across here. If you're playing like an all-in Warlock deck, you're going to lose to Mr. Negative. You're going to lose to Move. This is just what it's going to be. They do more points than you. So if you're going to play a Warlock deck, you got to play these. And Mobius is doing that here. Unfortunately, he's also really good against you because there's a lot of decks that are making the same calculation there. Gwenpool is here to buff Mysterio. Weirdly, not a card I'm positive about in this list. I think she's solid and good and definitely provides like a solid Warlock backup plan, because if Warlock isn't working, you just kind of can't do that. So you have to have something that like has meaningful beef. If your opponent is going to play Mobius, you need to be like, all right, I'm a Mysterio deck now, and you just have to be okay with that. And she makes you more okay with that. Deck building crutch numero uno. It's very hard to make a bad deck with Juggernaut in it. And this is not a bad deck, and a lot of it is because it has Juggernaut in it. But I do wonder if maybe there's a more all-in points version that can just say, like, look, I'm just filling up every location. Sorry, buddy. I think for now, though, Juggernaut's got to stay. She's just dope if she's not getting Mobius. Like, if you do Warlock and Sunspot in this card, she's going to cost 0. A 0/10 is obviously ridiculous. Pairing your 0/10 with a discounted Juggernaut, a discounted Mobius, a discounted Hitmonkey, also very obviously ridiculous. She just is good here. It's just a Mobius issue. So where does that leave Warlock? Right now, I like this shell. I think it's quite solid. I have severe worries about a future where Killmonger gets reverted, which pushes Danger into the metagame, because I think Killmonger is Danger's best friend. And I worry about this deck succeeding in that world. I think Killmonger Danger is exactly what a deck like this, which is reliant not just on 1-drops, but on activate cards that get obliterated by a Danger. That's the kind of stuff you don't want to see. So largely, what I'm going to tell you is wait until the OTA tomorrow, and probably wait until a little bit after that, because I do think this is the best deck for this metagame. But I also think that it's very likely that this metagame is going to get drastically altered by the reversions to those tech cards. And I don't want people to watch this video and say, KMBest thinks this deck is awesome, because I do, but there's a lot coming in this OTA. Like, that's just how it's going to be. They said they're going to not only do a normal, like all the reversions, they're going to also do a normal OTA on top of that. please, please, please don't cope yourself into this too early, because I really do think there are some meaningfully bad things that are pretty likely, if not guaranteed, to happen to it in this upcoming OTA. All of that said, let's get into the gameplay. I hope you enjoy. I've been KMBest, and you've been phenomenal. Fuck are you talking about? Jug is the... If they proc, whatever lane they proc on wins, and we need to make sure we win the other lane. We literally don't win middle even through that. We don't have enough points to win middle even through a guaranteed proc if we jug. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
This just in. Opponent snapped.
He's just snapping that he has, Mobius, right? Oh. Well, I don't like this at all. But if I have a Mercury, am I not based and goated? Do we snap back? I really wonder. Something like this. Yep. Jeez. Are you a Mr. Negative gamer? Because if so, I'm going to beat your ass. Oh. I mean, we'll just fool around then. Fascinating. Are they gonna hella me, dude? That's so scary. Blink Scar. Okay, so this is Hella then, right? What are they bringing back? It's some stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna lose anyway. It's chill.
I'm coming for you.
Surely I lose, yeah? They go -5 here? It's just not enough. Oh, wait, it is enough? I'm maybe the coolest person to ever play this game. Type of deal. Okay, it ain't Moon Girl. I'm fairly confident in that one. Good night, don't forget to jug. Ayo.
Opponent snapped.
Holy shit. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. All right. What is happening here? Are we going into a tiebreak here that we probably win?
It's collaborate time.
We are. We are. Bro, you are going in the device.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's horrifying. What do we think this is? Is it like a cannonball angle from them? No, because cannonball would just send it to the middle. So it can't be a cannonball angle. We're playing 1, 2, 3 additional cards. So it is like 14. I don't think they do bigger than this. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, that is kind of sick nasty from us. Good thing we still had a big lady in there.
Victory.
Interesting. They played around exactly our She-Hulk buff in 2 lanes. That's an oddity, for sure. Alright, I mean, I guess we're snapping this. Quite scary. Holy shit. That's insane. They have a destroy card here. I'm gonna shit a brick.
We are the future.
Okay, no brick shitting required. No brick shitting required.
Victory.
What was that? Tell me Warlock is good, so dude, I'm in the same position, and I don't think he's very good. Unfortunately, I am in the same position as you. Okay, they missed a sound. Fucking go, dude.
Opponent snapped.
Alright, I take that to mean that I'm just not getting this Warlock off. Yeah. Oh. Do you think Iris just beast modes me here? And puts the fucking Batroc here? Or the shield there? You never. But like, if I do this then? I don't know. Oh, holy shit. Oh, holy shit, we did it! We beast moded! Oh my god. We are so fucking dead on a solid 1,000,000% of plays there. The power of range! I should have lost that? I know. We tried the Kitty Pride stuff already. I don't think it's Merlin because of the specifics of this matchup being what they are. Am I getting galacked on? That's crazy.
Opponent snapped.
What's happening?
Wakanda forever.
Does this work? Okay, it does work. Absolutely the fuck not! Absolutely the fuck not. No. No goddamn Zola, dude. Close though, look at that 7-7, dog. No. No fucking Zola. Absolutely the fuck not, dude. Under no circumstance. Holy Kang, holy RSM gamer, holy fuck. Right. How does Warlock feel? Not the greatest card of all time. Ouch, bro. How did they play Mockingbird with Mobius in play? With energy. Isn't it turn 4? No. Do I snap this?
Oh, snap.
I think I'm at worst on a 50-50 here. Yep. Doesn't even matter where the bob goes. Irrelevant. No, I don't think it goes in either of those decks better than this Oscarino. I think this is by